How to fix random crashing in Crysis Warhead. Welcome back to Teknobalta. Today, we are tackling a notorious issue that plagues many PC gamers trying to enjoy a classic masterpiece. Crysis Warhead is an incredible game, but it often suffers from random, abrupt crashes to the desktop without any warning or error message. At Teknobalta, we have analyzed this erratic behavior extensively to pinpoint exactly why the legacy engine struggles on modern hardware. Our team has compiled a definitive deep dive guide to stabilize your game and prevent these unexpected closures. By following our comprehensive diagnostic steps, you will be able to lock in a smooth, crash-free experience. Let us dive right into the solutions. During our testing, we found that the most common culprit for random crashes in this game is tied to its internal edge smoothing processes. Disabling the in-game anti-aliasing setting completely resolves the unexpected desktop crashes for a vast majority of systems. Simply navigate to the game's graphics options, turn anti-aliasing off, and apply the changes before restarting the game. Crysis Warhead defaults to DirectX 10 on modern Windows operating systems, which introduces severe memory management instability. We confirmed that forcing the game to run in DirectX 9 mode significantly enhances stability and prevents sudden application hangs. You can do this by right-clicking the game in your digital library, selecting Properties, and typing DX9 in the Launch Options box. The default installation often points to the 32-bit executable, which runs out of memory very quickly during intense combat sequences. Our team discovered that manually launching the game from the bin64 folder bypasses these memory allocation crashes entirely. Navigate to your main game installation directory, open the bin64 folder, and create a desktop shortcut for the 64-bit executable file. Legacy titles frequently crash when they lack the necessary Windows permissions to write temporary files or access core system directories. We always recommend right-clicking your game executable and navigating to the Compatibility tab to enable the option to run the program as an administrator. This ensures the game engine can freely manage its graphical assets without being silently blocked by Windows security protocols. Because this title was designed during a much older operating system era, modern desktop environments can cause thread scheduling conflicts. Under the same Compatibility tab, check the box to run the program in compatibility mode and select Windows Vista Service Pack 2. This simple adjustment aligns your operating system's behavior with the legacy game engine's expectations. If you are forced to use the 32-bit executable for compatibility reasons, the game is hard-coded to only utilize 2 GB of system RAM, leading to fatal memory leaks. We verified that applying a large address-aware patch allows the executable to access up to 4 GB of RAM. Download a trusted large address-aware tool, select the 32-bit game executable, check the flag to enable larger memory allocation, and save the changes. Modern Windows versions apply an overlay optimization to full-screen applications that often conflicts with legacy, exclusive full-screen rendering modes. In the Compatibility tab of the game's executable, checking the box to disable full-screen optimizations stops the desktop window manager from interfering with the render pipeline. This tweak effectively eliminates severe micro-stutters and random display driver timeouts. Outdated or corrupted Visual C++ libraries are a hidden cause of silent application crashes in older PC games. At Teknobalta, we recommend downloading the latest all-in-one Visual C++ package directly from the official Microsoft repository. Install both the x86 and x64 versions to ensure all legacy dependencies required by the game engine are properly registered in your system. Running menus or physics calculations at several hundred frames per second causes the game's physics engine to miscalculate and crash. We suggest opening your graphics control panel and setting a global or application-specific maximum frame rate of 60 or 120 FPS. This prevents the graphics card from rendering unnecessary frames and heavily stabilizes the internal physics threads. Third-party software, overlays from communication platforms, or performance monitors inject code directly into the game's rendering pipeline. Our analysis showed that these injections frequently collide with the outdated rendering engine, resulting in an immediate crash to the desktop. Disable all overlay interfaces in their respective settings menus before launching the application. Even with vast amounts of physical RAM, legacy applications rely heavily on the Windows virtual memory pagefile for texture swapping. We found that manually setting your system pagefile to a minimum of 8,000 megabytes prevents virtual memory exhaustion during demanding level transitions. Access your advanced system settings in Windows, navigate to the Performance tab, and configure a custom virtual memory size. Corrupted shader caches or overlapping display drivers often trigger a timeout recovery and crash the game silently. We strongly advise using the Display Driver Uninstaller utility in Windows Safe Mode to completely wipe your current graphics drivers. Once your system has rebooted, perform a fresh, clean installation of the latest graphics drivers direct from your hardware manufacturer's website. Modern multi-core processors aggressively park inactive cores to save power, which delays instructions sent by poorly optimized older software. Unparking your processor cores ensures that all computational threads are immediately available when the game demands sudden rendering power. You can use a dedicated core unparking utility or enable the ultimate performance power plan in your Windows settings. Incomplete downloads or silently corrupted texture archives will cause the engine to halt execution the moment it tries to load a broken asset. Open your digital storefront library, right-click the game, and run the File Integrity Verification tool. This process checks every local file against the master server and redownloads anything that is missing or damaged. Sometimes the engine tries to parallelize tasks that are strictly designed for single-core processing, causing severe synchronization crashes. You can create a configuration file named autoexec in the main game folder and add specific command lines to restrict threading limits. Adding commands to limit physics and sound to a single thread forces maximum stability at the cost of a negligible performance drop. Aggressive real-time antivirus protection can quarantine critical dynamic link libraries during runtime, mimicking a random crash. We confirmed that adding the entire game installation folder to your antivirus exclusion list prevents these false positive interruptions. This allows the executable to read and write temporary shader files rapidly without being intercepted by background security protocols. High-definition audio sample rates can confuse legacy sound engines and cause sudden buffer overloads during loud combat encounters. Right-click your system sound icon, open the sound control panel, and navigate to the advanced properties of your active playback device. Lower the default format to 24-bit for 8000 Hz, which is the industry standard that legacy games perfectly understand. While frame limiting is essential, the in-game VSync implementation for this specific title is notoriously buggy and causes input latency alongside rendering crashes. Turn off the VSync option directly inside the game's primary display settings menu. If you experience screen tearing, force VSync externally through your dedicated graphics card control panel instead. Data execution prevention is a Windows security feature that can mistakenly flag older game executables as malicious memory threats. You can add the game's executable to the exception list by accessing the advanced system settings under your Windows performance options. This prevents the operating system from forcefully terminating the game process during heavy memory allocation spikes. Even on modern systems, the specific legacy DirectX libraries required by the game might be missing or heavily corrupted. Downloading the DirectX end-user runtime web installer from Microsoft will scan your system and replace any missing legacy files. This foundational step guarantees that the core graphics framework required by the engine is perfectly intact and operational. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more.